We can move it. Good evening and welcome to the Manteno Village Board meeting for Monday, June 19th, 2023. I'd like to call the meeting to order, and if you could all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Boyce.
Here.
Martin. Dole.
Here.
Crockett.
Here.
Geske. Phillips.
Here.
We have a quorum tonight. We begin with the approval of the minutes. As always, in your packet, we have the minutes from our June 5th, 2023 board meeting. Hopefully everyone has had the opportunity to review those. Are there any changes, additions, deletions, corrections?
Make the motion.
We have a motion by Phillips to approve the minutes as submitted. Second by Dole. Roll call.
Phillips.
Yes.
Dole.
Yes.
Boyce.
Yes.
Crockett.
Yes.
Motion carries. Public participation. Doesn't appear that we have anyone to address the board. You never received any comments or anything?
We have not.
Okay. Village President's Report, just one item on my agenda. The high school football team has filed a request to sell their discount cards. They do this every year where they go door to door and sell them at different locations. The high school football players sell a card where you get discounts at a number of local businesses. They have filed the proper paperwork and had the superintendent sign the request and have submitted that for approval for tonight. Is there any questions in regards to the request for solicitation or the fundraiser application for the high school football team? If not, I'd accept the motion to...
I'll make that.
A motion by Boyce, second by Dole, in favor of approving that. All in favor signify by aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. The other item ahead is also from the high school. We received a letter, in this, we usually get these at the end of each school year, in regards to the cooperation that, the village and the school district has. Dear President Nugent, the village board, we're writing to express our appreciation for your work with Manteno High School. We greatly appreciate all the work you do for us, including your support of the programs. Our school theme this past year was Simply the Best. You are part of the process that allows us to be simply the best. We would like to thank the police department for the professionalism they exhibit every time we have a call. Our police are some of the finest, and we are proud of the job they do day in and day out. The presence of their presence at school events is noted and appreciated and shows the pride that they have in our community. It's a true pleasure to work in collaboration this past year with Officer Tovbeck, the school resource officer. We consider him one of the finest school resource officers in the state of Illinois. He provides a network between the youth of Manteno, their school, and the village police department. The partnerships that we've created over the years have served us both well. We look forward to the future partnerships between your government body and ours. Again, thank you for taking interest in the schools and especially interest in the young people of our community, providing the community with a great deal of pride. Schools cannot do what they do without community support. We look forward to working with you again in the 2023 school year, signed by the staff of the Manteno High School. I have no other announcements, just a comment. Jake, you had the golf cart parade on Friday. The weather cooperated and a great turnout. Everything go okay for the rocking on the square, and I mean, you had a good crowd.
Yeah, I think everything went perfect. We had our golf cart parade, which was awesome. It's always great to see the different carts and creativity, and it was great to see the park full, even spilling onto 2nd Street. So all in all, it was a great first concert to our summer concert series.
Well, I know you had you changed the route a little bit this year, and you had the area for the golf carts to park just south of on the south end of the square. But when we got there, it was almost full. So there was an awful lot of carts that obviously weren't in the parade that were there, at the beginning. So I think that's it kind of turned out to be a great spot for the parking for all the events that take place on the square. And if there's room for that, I know there's been other years where we had them park on the right on 2nd Street, and it was kind of confusing and difficult for people to get around, and if you were parked in the middle, you couldn't get out whenever you wanted to, so I think that's really worked out well. We got a lot of compliments about having that there, but I say you had a lot of people in town, a lot of people from out of town that were here too. The band was good, and I think I came through there later that night, and everything was picked up, and there was no incidents or no problems whatsoever, so congratulations. I know one of your first summertime events, so it went very well. You did a good job on the weather, too.
Thank you. And yeah, thanks to PD and Public Works for all their help with that, because it wouldn't have been possible without them. I know Jim and his team was out there striping the lines and stuff for that parking, so thank you, guys.
Yeah. Village Administrator's report, Mr. LaRock.
I have nothing this evening, Mayor.
Public Works and Utilities, Mr. Boyce.
I have no items on agenda. I do have a meeting on the 27th of this month at 7 a.m. right here. Thank you.
Properties Recreation, Mr. Martin is not here. He has no items on his agenda for tonight. So Public Safety and Health, Mrs. Dole.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have any action items on the agenda. My next public safety meeting is July 12th, 7 a.m. in the Village Boardroom. I want to talk about something that's a concern. 3 bats tested positive for rabies recently in Kankakee County. The positive bats were located in areas of Grant Park, Kankakee, and St. Anne, according to Kankakee County Health Department. None have been reported in Manteno yet. However, bats that carry rabies may be found anywhere in Kankakee County. 13 bats have been tested positive for rabies in Illinois so far this year, and a total of 61 bats tested positive for rabies throughout the whole state of Illinois in 2022. If you find a bat in your home or other location, do not attempt to handle it or try to remove it yourself. Try and isolate yourself and others from the bat. Minimize harm to the bat so it can be tested for rabies. Contact Manteno Animal Control through the Manteno Police Department, and they will work with the Kankakee County Animal Control to remove the bat. Rabies vaccines may be needed if you handle a bat, or there is a bat in a room with someone who is sleeping, an unobserved child, or someone who is incapacitated. Contact the County Health Department to determine if rabies vaccine is needed. Call 815-802-9400 and option 3. After hours, call 815-937-8479. So that is definitely a concern. Just a kind of reminder, softball and baseball are going strong over at Heritage Park. Come on out and watch the kids have fun. You can watch the 5-year-olds attempt to hit the ball and run, and you can watch, the 13 to 14-year-old kids do the same thing. Fireworks are on Monday, July 3rd at dusk. Come and watch the professionals do the job, and fireworks are illegal for the residents to do. And my phone keeps going off saying air quality alert, and reported air quality in our area is unhealthy for sensitive groups. So it's something to keep in mind because it's happening all over or whatever, that the air quality is something we need to be concerned about if you have sensitivity to that. So and that's all I have.
Our next meeting is scheduled for Monday, July 3rd, which is also the night of the fireworks. I know it's not the holiday, it's the day before the holiday, but it's kind of when Manteno celebrates the 4th of July, or that's when there's an awful lot of things going on that particular day or that particular evening. Is that something that the board might have interest in moving to a different time or different date?
I was really looking forward to being here.
I figured you were, and I certainly appreciate the efforts that you'll make to be here that night. But I just thought we'd throw it out there just in case there was any interest. If there's some discussion about potentially moving it to a different date, just kind of watch your email boxes, and we'll consider potentially, obviously not to the next day, which is the actual holiday, which would be the 4th. We'll talk and see about the potential for moving it to a different day. I know the Village of Bourbonnais moved it, I don't know if they're meeting on Friday or, when, but because it is kind of a long 4-day weekend, and because there is a lot of things going on here in town that night. Now, if everybody wants to be here at 6 o'clock on July 3rd, I'll certainly be happy to be here too. But if you choose to decide to do something different, then that'd be all right also. Anyone have any issue or any comment about what they want to do?
No, I'll be on vacation that week, so,
It won't matter one way or another, do you?
sorry.
Doesn't
Well,
matter what you do, huh?
You know, Chris, if you want to, I mean, there's got a couple trustees who aren't here tonight. If you want to maybe, send out a poll to see what everybody's, idea is, but if we're going to change anything, we need to do it in plenty of time so we can put a notice in that we're potentially going to be adjusting the schedule, so,
Yep, I'll send it out tomorrow.
okay.
Would we have the option to go to the following week, or does it have to be that week?
That's fine.
yeah.
It would be a special meeting.
That would
so
be, okay, so, I mean, we can change it to, we could do it to the following week, or we could potentially do it on, maybe the week before, but then you won't have some of the bills that were paid for the final of the month or whatever. If you put it the following week, then you're going to have a meeting 2 weeks in a row, but that's not.
Because Tim just voiced that he won't.
Well, I'd certainly like to move it where Tim can make sure he could be here.
Well, I don't think I'll be here that week as well, so. So later in, the following week would work if we could do
Okay.
that.
Well, if you want to check and see what everybody else's schedule is going to be, so,
Yep.
I mean, we don't want to have a meeting and not have a quorum either, obviously, so we want to, even if you're out of town, obviously, that's one thing, but even if you're in town and you're unavailable or, for one reason or another to not be here, let's try to figure out what we want to do and get it changed so we can publicize when the meeting is going to be.
Will do.
Planning and zoning, Mr. Crockett.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have anything on the agenda this evening, but we do have a planning and zoning committee meeting scheduled for June 27th, 7 a.m. here in the village boardroom. And the next planning commission meeting is scheduled for July 11th, 6 p.m., also here in the village boardroom. And that's all I have for this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Crockett. Finance, Mr. Geske not here. He has the only item on the agenda, and that is ordinance 2305, which is an ordinance establishing a tax reimbursement account for the 2022 tax year and authorizing distribution to owners of taxable homestead property within the village of Manteno, Kankakee County, Illinois. Chris, you want to talk about the reason that we have to establish this?
Yeah, so when we set this up last year to rebate the village portion of property taxes, our attorneys advise us that we do this every year. The percentages might change. This year, we're giving back 100% again, but every year that could change to a different percentage, or we could choose not to do it. But it's a separate checking account that we move the funds into to keep it separate, be able to keep a tally of how much we're giving back. So this is just a formal housekeeping thing that we have to do in order to make sure that we move those funds into that separate account to have enough money to rebate the taxes.
And last year, we set this account up. I think we have 1,300 checks that went out, rebate checks in that vicinity, totaling just under $1 million. I mean, over $900,000.
Right.
There was a number of people that may or may not have qualified because if you hadn't lived in your house the whole year before, the year before, a lot of homes had been sold. So this year, there's going to be, additional people that would qualify that might not have last year. So is there an amount that we're putting into that account when or just we're creating it right now, but we're not transferring any money into it yet?
Correct, yeah. The payments won't actually go out till early in December, so we have time to do this, but we budgeted $1 million for the program, so.
And we're already starting to take, now that people have received their tax bills, they can, they're eligible to come into the village hall and file for the tax rebate. But similar to last year, you have to, you've got to have some other paperwork, copies of your driver's license to show that you lived at that location. If there's two people's name on the tax bill, you have to have copies of both of their license. If someone had potentially, if there was a divorce or a death in the ownership, you might have to provide death certificates or divorce papers or trust agreements or whatever. So please don't wait till you've got plenty of time. It's not due until October. But if you want to start doing the paperwork or filing it, if you did it last year, it's very similar to that. But just because you submitted those documents last year, all that stuff is filed away and, with last year's information. So you still have to file the same stuff, for this year or different things depending on if your situation has changed. And you have to have lived in the home the whole calendar year of 2022 from January 1 to December 31st. So, in order to qualify. I know that was a sticking point for a number of people that only lived in the house a portion of the year, but we are not prorating it. We are not sending one check to a previous owner and another check to the new owner. It's got to be, someone who's lived in that residence the entire year. So start, looking at it. You've got plenty of time, but, just as always, last year we had a number of people that came in at the end, and the deadline this year is the deadline for the date of paying the taxes, and it's not being extended. I know there was some confusion last year about if they paid it by a certain date. The taxes were due in September, and I think the date to file them was not till October, and if they came in later, they could if they paid the taxes. So make sure you know the rules that apply, so you don't get yourself into a jam and potentially disqualify yourself. The other item that Mr. Geske has on his agenda is the payment of the bills in the amount of $727,133.80, of which include $5.31 of TIF 1, and bills authorized and paid between the board cycle of $8,983.75. He also has a committee meeting scheduled on July 12th at 7 a.m. for the Finance Committee here in the Village Boardroom. General Government, Mr. Phillips.
I have nothing on the agenda, Mayor.
So tonight on the consent agenda, the items that we'll be approving are under old business, nothing. Under new business, we have ordinance 2305, which is an ordinance establishing a tax reimbursement account for the 2022 tax year and authorizing distribution to owners of taxable homestead property within the village of Manteno, Kankakee County, Illinois. And also the payment of the bills in the amount of $727,133.80, of which the TIF 1 bills are $5.31. Are there any items on the consent agenda that need to be voted on individually? Seeing none, I accept the motion to take a single roll call vote on the question of passage of the agenda items as read.
I'll make that motion.
A second.
Motion by Crockett, second by Phillips. Roll call.
Crockett,
Yes.
Phillips,
Yes.
Boyce,
Yes.
Dole,
Yes.
Motion carries. Accept the motion to approve by unanimous vote the ordinances, resolutions, motions, and orders contained in the consent agenda as read.
You make that motion.
Motion by Dole,
Second.
second by Boyce. Roll call.
Dole,
Yes.
Boyce,
Yes.
Crockett,
Yes.
Phillips.
Yes.
Motion carries. Mr. Boyce, you have anything you want to talk about tonight?
Just want to say, Jacob, you did a great job. Way to get everything planned out, everything laid out. Nice job. Can't wait for the next one. That's it.
Thank you.
The next one is July
July 21st.
21st?
Yep.
Friday night. Okay. And you have a different band, obviously. Is there food trucks coming for the next one, too? or-
Yep, Crawford's Daughter will be there next month, and we will have 3 food trucks in attendance.
Good. I know they were backed up the other night. That's
Yes,
good.
hoping this third one will resolve
Well, and I'm
that.
assuming they, I don't know if they sold out or not in the 3 hours, but did they? Okay,
They
well,
did.
that's
They
good.
had to
That-
stop taking orders, I think, like a couple,
That makes them,
shortly after they were open,
that makes them want to come back because they get rid of
Exactly.
all their inventory. That's good. Good. Mr. Dole?
Just, like I said, reaching out just to make sure everybody picks up one of these are there banks and different things?
Banks,
too, or-
they're at Village Hall, local chamber members, and it's also on our Facebook page, pinned to the top, so.
Because the cruise night is tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yep.
And the intrinsic arch fire show is the third Tuesday of the month also, so there's things
Tomorrow
going
night,
on.
there's another car show too, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
they've got
cruise night.
they've got a food truck coming for that too. I know a couple weeks ago when they had one, there was a lot of people downtown for that. And the fire show is the same night.
And besides, I don't want to steal your thunder, but there's also the movie in the park is The Addams Family on the 6th of July. So there's coming, and before our next meeting, well, there will, they could potentially have.
We don't even know
things
when
are
our
going
next
on.
meeting's gonna be.
Things are going on, and Antino's are just like having fun. So-
That's good. Mr. Crockett?
Just also want to reiterate, great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Phillips?
Saturday, we had a pickleball tournament. We had a big crowd, did we not?
You guys had a huge crowd.
and was with the Bank of Manteno, and
Yep, it was with National Bank of Manteno and Lamore Realty. They co-hosted the event, and I think there was 16 teams
yep,
in total, so it was a full roster. There were a lot of people in attendance just kind of cheering on the teams and stuff, so I think you guys are onto something. I will
Yeah,
give you that.
it was beautiful.
Well, and next year, if we have that park completed with the additions that we've got planned, with the more, more pickleball courts and the other amenities that we got planned there, hopefully we'll be able to have, even more. I mean, I know they had a great day for it, but that's good. Nice to see the local businesses stepping up and sponsoring it and taking the initiative to get that going. And
How'd you do, Wendell? Mr. Pickleball?
That's as busy as that park has ever been.
Did you play?
I have a little problem, so I couldn't play.
Oh.
You were
missed you
there,
the
you were
next
there in spirit.
All right. Whatever.
Okay, I have nothing.
Jacob, did you play?
I did not. I got to brush up on my skills first.
The only other item I have is golf cart registration. If you are, they were due on June 1st. If you don't have one of the black stickers on your golf cart, you need to get one. The price has changed because we're trying to we double the price because we try to encourage people to get it done in advance so you can pay the lower fee, but now you run the risk of being ticketed, so please get in and get your new golf cart registration taken care of. Some people have said, well, I work during the day, I can't get there. The police are open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can call them anytime, so that excuse is kind of out the window. It's open, you can get them, at the Village Hall during regular business hours. So please, get them so you don't, get pulled over or get stopped for that. And it's only fair to everybody else who did, buy them to make sure that everyone has the new black stickers for the year, for the 2023 year. I have nothing further except a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Crockett, second by Dole. Roll call.
Crockett,
Yes.
Dole,
Yes.
Boyce,
Yes.
Phillips.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you very much for coming, for watching.